Yeah, let's just record and then we'll see. A bit of improvising this is okay.
You can choose later if you want to delete it. Okay, welcome again. Topic of today is Datadog. As Pascal mentioned, it's part of the definition of done. And to be honest, I was quite disappointed that, I mean, we did a lot already in terms of monitoring, but nothing happened also in the old solution. So when at the time we came up with Kibana, there were not really people who did contribute to that, even if we decided to have the monitoring part of the definition of done. Now we have Datadog, that's a new tool. I'd say a more powerful tool than Kibana was, or at least it's more complete. And yeah, I also haven't seen that many tests till I'd say 3 weeks ago. And I was surprised that some new tests appeared. So I don't know what happened, but it feels like that you guys are also already using it. Maybe not everybody, but some of you do. So yeah, so whatever I tell, maybe you already know it or not, doesn't matter. Let me show what I've learned. So everybody should have access to the Datadog environment. Otherwise, let me know, because there's like a team here with all the people, mainly backend devs. I need to see that I can also add the front end. Bogdan, for instance, is there. Yeah, but obviously Velko is there. Yeah, obviously not every front-end dev is there, but the front-end developers can use that as well. Yeah, and then the most important areas in Datadog, let me know if you don't have access, then I can add you, is the dashboard list. There you can see, yeah, you can create dashboards. You see, Kien already did some tests or whatever. And I'd say it makes sense that every team, or maybe also a product, has its own dashboard. Let's say a dealer rating dashboard or whatever. So you are always you always have a view on how your product performs. Basil and me created those two boards. One is more for infrastructure purpose, so hardware related stuff. And the other one is for health checks in terms of application errors, how fast our, what the speed is of our applications and so on. So for instance, this AS24 health dashboard, you have an overall traffic where you can see how many requests we have. And you can also obviously see that there's like this peak between 9 o'clock in the evening and 10 o'clock. So that's prime time for AutoScout. You can see overall speed over every application. So there you can see the Finance Scout API was quite slow for a moment around midnight. So maybe there was an app pull recycle or whatever. So a lot of informations. Yeah, and it's you can do different widgets, add different widgets here. You can add areas here, and so on. So let me try to edit that one. you can, for instance, edit such a widget, or you can just simply add one here. You have different kind of widgets, time series, just an average number or whatever, query value, table, a list, heat map. So a lot of possibilities here, similar to what you had in Kibana. So that's the dashboard. We can come later maybe to add an example or something like that, but let me first show you those two that I always or mainly use. So the logs one and the monitoring one. So the logs area, there you have a lot of informations about how your application behaves in terms of IIS log files or logs from the Kubernetes cluster or application errors or whatever. So that's all here in the logs area. So whenever we do write to log files or whatever, or we do log information in the standard out on Kubernetes application, all gets sent to Datadog. So for instance, this morning I added Implio, an Implio service for fraud prevention. Oh, I need to like say the last, there you can change the date, the time range. So you see there's like the Implio listing service, you can choose that one. Oh, and obviously we currently have, oh no, that's just, it's not error, sorry, it's just informations. So this Implio service, you see now the output of the application here in Datadog, and how does it look like in the Ranger cluster? How it's configured, I don't know. It's ITO that did it. But whenever you deploy a service, so I deployed that one to this morning, and then you can see the log files. Oh, there's warnings. Okay, need to check that. And yeah, there you can see the same information that should appear in here, huh? Now I need to check why these are not these errors are not, or the warnings are not declared as warnings. That's not good. But you see, whatever is in here, you can see it in Datadog as well. So now you can add, or you can also, for instance, search for the main domain IIS log. So you see these are the URLs that got called. So for instance, this one is a SERP, search result page. You have information from which IP it got called, status code, the time taken in milliseconds and nanoseconds. Yeah. So, and then you can filter, huh? You can filter the way that you can, whenever I click this one here, let me remove it. For instance, yeah, sometimes when I click that one, it appears here. So that's the query filter. So service, www. And then you can say, for instance, status code should be 500 errors. Show me just the 500 errors. And there you see, yeah. And that's because our error page is a little bit, it's weird. It's 500 on the 500 error page. We all know about that issue. Yeah, so that's all in terms of information you can get here. You can also choose by the host. For instance, if you want status code 500 error C on this AS native app 01 server, then you can see it here. And that's obviously still this count bug we have. It should be in Jira somewhere. So there's quite a lot of errors in the last 1 hour there. Yeah, so that's hosts. Host is always like server specific. The source is a IIS log file, Nginx, big IPs, or type. And the services are these ones here. And now I can show you how the log files are sent to Datadog on the web servers. Not on the kube cluster. Again, you need to ask ITO how they installed the agent there and so on. But here it's just an agent that got installed, the Datadog agent. And you see it runs on the Windows server as a service. And then you have an admin interface. You have log informations, you have settings. Here, for instance, the setting is the API key, and somewhere there's the server name. I'd say, you know, that it is AS24 00 int. Where? Oh, environment is int. Oh, that's also choosable here. Here env. So you can choose between int and prod. That's set here as an environment variable. And then you can have different files, YAML files for the agent. One, for instance, is the IIS configuration. So it listens on all hosts on the IIS. And there is the log file definition. So whenever there's a file that has this, starts with this path, either it's changed or new, the information will get sent to Datadog. So if you add a new web application on the IIS, you need to add it here as well. Then we have that's what I did quite recently. So we changed the logging from, initially we logged into the DB, the SQL DB. Then we changed that to Kibana. And now we put send our application errors to Datadog. And how I did that is, first I tried to use the Datadog API, but that took too much time to send an error. And yeah, we don't have that many errors, so maybe Also, maybe it shouldn't be that problematic, but if we want to send the informations as well, and we have quite a lot of information, for instance, if translation is missing or something, and that can happen quite often, so we would have a lot of API calls to Datadog, which could like decrease our performance. So what I did is I logged the exceptions into the also on the AL drive. So the AL drive is always the log drive with that path, and then the application name. And then you can see in the AL drive, let me, for instance, show you. Yeah, let's check this API. So let's see what's in here. So there's a lot of informations got locked. It should have the same structure than it had to send to Kibana and previously to SQL Server, and all this information now gets sent to Datadog because I told the agent to listen on this JSON file, huh? So whenever there's a new, it's just a listener on that pattern here. And then like there's the service name, for instance, and the source and the source category. Yeah, let's for instance see if we can find any exceptions or infos for the int autoradar. The last, let's say 1 day. Need to move that one. So there you can see how. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, yeah, no, let's say 2 days, because there's no newer data there. Still loading. There's no data. What am I doing wrong? Oh, sorry, that's API. Oh man. Autoradar. Okay, on the 26th. That's more than 2 days. Yeah. It just shows you here what is available for that period of time. It's also important. If you miss something here, it's maybe that initial per default it's just 15 minutes, so maybe it doesn't appear because of that. But it's still loading. Yeah. So there it appears, huh? So two infos on the 26th. Let's open that one. Oh, there's just one. Strange, okay. Oh, yeah, because it's we are on server 0, 0, huh? And then there's maybe one on the other server as well for that token. Yeah. So logging to files is quite fast. We use the Siri logger. No, that's not true for our MVC web. We use the andlog logger, and we write the information into files here. It's configured over the Datadog agent manager on the servers and will get sent to Datadog. Now, I told you that, but you shouldn't need that knowledge because we don't add new stuff to these servers. We really try hard to just use the Kubernetes cluster and quite soon the AWS one for new stuff. So you should never have the need of adding stuff here. This stays as it is, and yeah. So all clear about how the IIS log information and the application errors will get sent to Datadog, and how you can navigate through all these informations.
Hey, Oli, I have a question.
Yeah.
How about the console application? We don't have the log file there. So how can we expose the log with the console doc write line or something like that to the Datadog as you did for the Astra importer?
Also, but you speak about the Kubernetes cluster, because the Astra importer you changed it to here. View logs, and now, and that's all the magic here. Astra. You see Astra importer.
Yep.
So you see all the informations here.
Oh, okay. So we had some configuration in the YAML file for Kubernetes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, got it.
But also it's somehow installed on the Ranger. Generally, you don't need to add it into the YAML to deploy the service. That's it just happens automatically. But again, also here I've seen that here you see errors, huh? And that's the strange thing. It doesn't recognize this one as an error. You see, it's an info, and that's
probably mapping missing on the cluster side.
I don't know if it looks like that. It's kind of like, look, there's a line for each one, but it got splitted somehow. And we already had that issue when we had a case where we had a query that added all the 140,000 vehicle IDs that are online as SQL parameters in an in statement. So where vehicle ID in, and then a huge string. And that was the error message, and it got sent to Datadog. And on Datadog, you see kind of like splitted entries, because Datadog is not able to add such a huge record into one content row. So it got splitted. And the guy, I wrote to Datadog, and he said they cannot like assign it to when the JSON string got splitted into chunks, they're not mappable anymore to these data codes. And this one looks similar to that case. I need to see why, why this error message here. Oh. Oh, it's not there anymore, so it disappears here. But you would see like the error message on two different lines, and that's why it maybe did send the message line by line, because there's a new line. There's a new line in it. You know what I mean? A \n in the error message, and somehow it seems to not keep it under one line. Yeah, but I will check that when I have time. And so yeah, that's all about the thing you publish to Kubernetes. It's the standard out gets sent to Datadog, and the old jobs, that's the same. There's like a job server here. So don't add a new and don't add a new job on the old job infrastructure. So that's just to show you that it's also that the Datadog agent is also installed on the job server. On the job server, we also have an IIS because there's webs on the job server, for instance, the admin web. And there you can also see the C# one, and you see first the webs. So that's the source web exception, and then you can see the scheduled jobs. So source is scheduled job, and you also have Windows services. So let us, for instance, check where the let me remove that one. Let's see the source scheduled. I need to choose just one day. Yeah, normally it doesn't take that long. It seems to be slower than. You see scheduled job. So there's just one within the last day, an error. Can that be? And
you're checking on int, right? Or is that live?
That's prod.
Okay.
But even I just set the source to scheduled jobs. That. Let's see, Windows service. None. To be honest, that's strange. Looking. For instance, the call tracking. There's data. So at least this one should be there. Done. No, it's not here. Yeah, that's not good. Let me check. Yeah, but maybe I don't want to like. The agent is running. Yeah, I need to check why these informations are not there. It once worked, I can tell you.
And the path is correct, right? To the file.
What was the job name? Call tracking calls. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Oh, that's strange. Okay. So maybe it's because of that. Huh? Oh, but okay.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, it's this one is too much
Too long.
here. Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Or do we have both? No. Oh, come on. Where is it? Where's the job? Jobs, call tracking calls. Yeah, here's the name. I don't know. Okay. It seems that this one is wrong configured. So then you can just that one we can stay.
Mm-hmm.
We can leave. If you save, then it mentions restart agent to apply changes. Then you can just restart the agent by clicking here, and then it should.
It does restart automatically.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And it should send the informations to the server. But let's check another one. Maybe that's XML sitemap generator. Is it a similar problem that the name is wrong?
Is the path just sitemap generator?
Hmm?
The path
No.
where the logs are.
That's for sure right.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And there should be data, huh? You agree? So this is the 29th. Yeah, so there's informations. But No, it's not. It's not there. Yeah, I need to check, but yeah, this call tracking's importer was obviously wrong, but that's like a lucky punch. I'd say there's another problem that it doesn't get sent. So we kind of, you see, we need a monitoring of
Monitoring.
how we collect the data. So whenever there's kind of like there's no info or error on a service like the scheduled jobs, the source scheduled jobs. Yeah. So there's just one. So we can maybe do a monitoring here if there's really not that many informations here. Let's just do an alert, and alert will follow in a few minutes. How we can set up alerts based on that. But yeah, you see, and I need your, I also need your support in terms of monitoring our infrastructure and applications. So let's jump to monitoring, synthetic tests. Synthetic test is a possibility to actively test if your application performs from different sensors. So for instance, let's create one synthetic test. New test, an API test. Let's say where's the initial one? Here, huh? This is the initial endpoint to load the master data in our responsive web. So let's copy that URL here. So current points always to the latest version. So now we can just paste it here. A bit too much. Then you can test the URL. And then you can see what happened. But that's also strange. Why did it took 3 seconds? I mean, look at that one. That's not 3 seconds. That's a few milliseconds. Yeah. So set it here as advanced options. You can, I mean, you see the headers that will get sent. You can add, for instance, content type, application JSON. And then you see it sends this header as well. You can add cookies, you can add authorization. And then you can define a search, and that whenever you click a test URL, it then created one for you. But I'd say in our case, it should be less than 2 seconds. Huh? It would create an alarm currently, but I don't know if that's right, because it seems to be faster here.
Sorry, but where is Datadog hosted? So where does the request come from?
Yeah, that's a
on the
good
cloud?
question.
You
You see,
yeah.
there's different locations you can
Yeah.
test data.
Yeah, that's
But-
why it's
But what if you try only from Ireland?
Yeah, but I don't know which one this test URL is using. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Maybe Frankfurt is nearby as well.
No, it's faster. Oh, yeah, okay. So thanks for that. So it already is, I don't know what it used when I did that one. So the slowest one, maybe. Maybe it called every from everywhere and just, no, but now it's, okay, still, I don't know. Yeah, so maybe just
Might be random.
yeah. Yeah, as you can see, for instance, we already have synthetic tests here. For instance, where is it? This one. Web search result page. You see, we test from Frankfurt, Ireland, and London. But yeah, these ones doesn't make sense for us. Yeah, I agree. Oh, man, I clicked the wrong button.
And why is the web app search performance in the alert state?
I created that today. Oh. Oh shit. Yeah, why?
But the uptime is 0%, so.
Oh.
They see that the response is 302.
Yeah, that's a question I asked the ITO. No, but I changed this one. Application JSON, and here it expects HTML. So this one is wrong. Oh, but
maybe
yeah,
you can also change locations here.
Yeah.
Just leave the Europe.
Maybe.
You have to select, I think,
Select at least one location. I'd say.
Yeah, so you can, pick Frankfurt,
Yeah, but I didn't add notification. That's one I did this morning. I'm just on it just for test purpose, yeah. And I wrote into the DevOps channel about that problem here. Ah, you see, huh? ASPI blocks your test. Yeah, we have quite a hard anti-spidering. Okay. Is that one that is that the new one that we created together? No. Oh, sorry, I'm flipping around. So again. So again, it helps you to say, but you can add other assertions. Body, if you expect, for instance, that one. Of course, it doesn't work because it gets blocked by the anti-spidering. Not evaluate. Yeah. So you can add different assertions. You can check for things. Yeah, body header, response time, and status code. You can use different status codes and so on. Yeah, and here again, locations where you wanna, from where you wanna call these URLs. And then you can also define how frequently you would run the test, would like to run the test. And then also alert conditions. Huh? And then you can notify your team. Let me again open an existing one. Then you can see that there's the Slack channel. This one is working since long time already. You see, once we got 200, and sometimes we got 302 because of the anti-spidering, and but we need to see that we can just add the 200 here. Yeah. So it will send an information into the Slack channel. Please check the performance. So you can write whatever you want here. You can also define re-notify. Huh? You can say just notify once into the channel. You can, but you can also say let's just notify every 60 minutes. Otherwise, it would every minute you get a monitoring error into the monitoring channel, and it can flood the monitoring channel. And you can, if you choose that one,
Just a question, the add Slack not in the message there, is that automatically mapped by Datadog if you have add Slack?
this one,
yeah. That's automatically mapped.
You see that these are they are configured somewhere.
Datadog is probably in our Slack, right? As a user.
Or maybe integrations.
Yeah, let me. Here, huh?
Yes, and if you go to edit,
So it's
yeah.
in the monitoring settings somewhere. So you can,
Okay.
yeah, we could also add another Slack channel for int tests if we want to. Yeah. But let me get what strange thing. Oh, now it begins to be green. Oh, because yeah, we changed the location to just Europe. Now it seems to be a problem, huh? But to re-notify, what I'm missing is you can add another. Oh, int. We already have an int one. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. You can choose that Slack channel one. Yeah. Oh, you can also say if the test just fails for one of the three locations, or two of the three, or all, you know. So maybe sometimes there's one location a little bit slower than the others. I've seen such peaks, so I'd use this one, 2 of 3. But yeah, it's up to you. Yeah. So that's all about synthetic tests. So you can actively test in terms of calling something, expecting something from different locations. That's actively, but you can also monitor passively based on log informations if you have them. And we should really be able to rely on what we have in the logs. Huh? So what you've seen recently is not that good. So you can add a monitor based on logs. You see, add monitor, you have different kind of monitors, host metrics, it's also hardware stuff you have. Basil knows that part a little bit better than I. But you have that section logs. And now you can search, for instance, SQL listener. So no information. So, yeah, I always use first the search one here. You see, then I can copy that filter here, put it here. So now you can see that's just a count of the messages that got sent to Datadog. And now I can also, for instance, search for errors, status error. I have none currently. And then trigger when the metric is above let's say the warning threshold is if it's above 0, so 1, and an alert is above 1. So when it's 2 or more errors thrown. And then you can also add here, for instance, check SQL listener. Oh no, that's the name, sorry. AS24 SQL listener health check. Please check there's errors. Huh? Then you can re-notify again. Let's say if it happens if it still happens 16 minutes later, you can add, and there you here in this part you can add a second escalation message. You know, we can say now that's way too long. Fix it immediately. My friend, a little bit more positive, and you can also set the priority. Notify team members. You can notify specific team members, or again the Slack channel. Yeah. So that's all. So whenever there's an error happening on the SQL listener, if that mapping works and entries are in Datadog, so I check those two ones. And yeah, it will send a warning for one message and an alert. A warning is always yellow. I think we already had, this is a warning, huh? So overall, application exceptions is above 500. That's a warning, and above 1,000, it's an alert. That's, for instance, for error messages. But that's very generic, the one you've seen in the. So whenever you build an application, do it specifically for your product. So you can add endpoints if you want to check the availability. And to be honest, and you probably asked that question, how to check endpoints where you need to be logged in. I haven't done this so far, so there should be available. It should be possible to add authorization, but I haven't tested it since now. So I just used open API endpoints to test. So new API calls wouldn't be possible to test currently without the authorization, because the native API is not open. You need to log in. But the web app API for the search, result, detail, and so on, home, that's all open. You don't need to have a JV token, so you can test it without authorization. Again, actively testing, passively testing. Yeah? Passively is on log files. And you can, actively is always just a snapshot of a specific time. And it's always just from a specific fake browser or whatever. I don't know how Datadog calls it. You've seen it's a special user agent that Datadog has. Where is it? test URL. You see that that's information about the datadog. So I don't know how Rudy will then set up his anti-spidering software to allow Datadog.
You probably can allow user agent Datadog.
Yeah, but then if someone else knows that,
Yeah.
he will just add it. If you whitelist things like that, that's maybe not a good solution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So we need to see. But yeah, so I see now I should have find
Or
that
we
on my own.
add our own little secret to the header.
Yeah, or maybe that's kind of like a fingerprint you have,
Mhm.
but I don't know. Maybe it's just a GUID for every request. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so I didn't show you. Yeah, there's so much you can do in Datadog. I also haven't used everything. So incidents is new. Okay, we have status page currently, but maybe worse.
So
Try to
sorry
have a
to
look at
interrupt,
it.
Ali. Do
Yeah.
we use browser tests? Because it looked like a cool feature.
No.
Also, when we make these tests, can we add the API test? Can we somehow add it to our dashboard as a widget or something to see the status of specific tests? Instead of sending the message to monitoring channel, can we have it in a dashboard or something? I mean, I didn't use widgets, so I'm not sure.
Also, you can add everything you defined as search criteria and so on the dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this one I haven't tried that one, and that's the thing I told Scott already. So what's the responsibility of a dev? We once defined that we had kind of like this QA or QC situation that we hired people who wrote tests, also unit tests, and yeah, that's completely stupid, wrong. So we said the developers, they will at least do the unit tests and then also the some integration tests. And now we have, as you've seen, API tests we could do. Before we did it with Postman and so on. Now we can do everything here, and you can do browser tests. And in my opinion, that's maybe not a good thing to add developers here, not that they can't do it or they're too or that it's not their job. It's just we should use our dev resources for development and not things like that, because other people can do that as well.
I see
And
browser tests more for front-end people, maybe.
yeah, not
exactly,
only,
yeah.
maybe for QC, the guys who do automated tests and so on. So, I mean, what's our QC profile? Maybe that part belongs to that as well, because what they do is like they write automated scripts with Cypress, I think. Huh? So why not use these ones here?
Mm-hmm.
And you can also, you see new multi-step API tests. So that's where you maybe can get a JD token first, and then do an insertion or whatever. So you can like add whole flows here. But yeah, to be honest, I'm not really sure currently who's responsible for that. Of course, every dev can do it. We can do almost everything, but we need to find out what makes sense that the dev is also, because in the end the dev does almost everything. Also, like creating alarms. Yeah. But yeah, it's very powerful. You can also do security monitoring. It's really a powerful tool. But yeah, I did set up all these. The main thing I did set up is the log integration, and that's why I'm a little bit disappointed that it didn't work today, that we don't have data in there. So that should be really reliable, and yeah, need to fix that. But other than that, I went to other stuff, so I didn't invest that much time or no time in terms of browser testing and so on. But I'd say you work on products. I mainly not anymore. So you can see within your team if that makes sense. So or maybe we can also do a guild day or do set up something like that on a guild day together, or yeah, I don't know, together with QC guys and see if they could do that, because I'd say I mean, a QC person is responsible for quality, so it maybe can be placed under their domain. What do you think?
So for me, it makes sense, but also for my team, for example, I would introduce everyone to this. So if they feel the need or can use this, it would be good. I feel even like PM and PD and other guys, because it's, if I remember correctly, the browser test, you can click and record your actions and then assert. So it's very graphical. So I think even business people could do sort of an UAT test, which stays.
Yeah.
But I mean PM more like not really business or sales, but yeah, or PM or PD.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't even have a QA, so, and we won't have it for a long while. So yeah.
The PMs from the past would have done that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the current ones, they focus on business mainly.
As I can remember that Knox and the QA team have browser tests and also some API tests for they was using the old tool like Postman or the automation test like I don't know Cypress or something.
Cypress,
yeah. I'm not sure if they want to move here. Yeah, but it's good to let them know and let them decide to choose.
Yeah, the advantage is if we use it here, everybody has access and can contribute and can see what's going on. So it's always not, in my experience, it's always not a good thing if you have no clue about how their environment looks like and what's going on and how can we see how their tests fail. Who here knows where to see Cypress results?
There is a Slack channel, right?
And do you feel like, "Well, I don't care," or would you also be interested in if like such tests, how they look like and so on? I mean, is this end-to-end test one? Is that from Cypress?
Yeah.
We just know if it fails or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It fails most of the time.
But actually, there is a Slack channel you can join, and then when it fails, you have a link to see screenshots. But still, it's really not so readable.
Okay.
Just a second. It's called AS24 end-to-end test results, E2E test results. Yeah. And yeah, if you find something earlier that fails, yeah, check failed snapshots. And if you click one of them, yeah, but you see, it's not so useful for developers. Like usually how it ends up is that one of QAs checks out what's not okay and tells us what is not okay.
Okay. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's Cypress is much more powerful. I can also say that I mean, I haven't investigated into detail, but Stackify, for instance, has much better code insights than we get it here. So .NET application insights are quite weak in Datadog. And also, I'd say the SQL monitor from JetBrains is much more powerful than the SQL server information you get in here. You have a lot of, you have a lot of performance counters. For instance, that's for instance the one that Basil made. You see every web server, hardware, so that's performance counters for web servers and yeah, our dealer API server is also already there. Yeah, and you also see good graphics in terms when you go live, that one server was taken offline, then the update happened and we added again and so on. So a lot of powerful, useful information. And there's, for instance, also this Solar metrics. And that's just there. No one of us created that one as well. You in Datadog, if you like add IaaS servers or Solar server instances, Kubernetes cluster, and so on, it's just created by Datadog itself automatically. You just have all these informations in a dashboard for free. You can also use things from here and copy such widgets into separate dashboards. So we can, maybe if you want to do an own dashboard based on performance counters you have here automatically, you can do that as well. But again, let's for instance see SQL Server. Maybe you can add more. Lock weights is also there. But I'd say in general, it's less power. And because SQL Server is that important, I wouldn't how do you say? I wouldn't verzichten.
Reinvent the wheel?
No.
I don't know.
So German lesson, verzichten means
Dispense.
Oh, that sounds strange.
Renounce.
Renounce. Give up.
Yeah.
Do without. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up or like save the money for the SQL. What I'm trying to say is that you get a lot already for free with Datadog. So that's quite powerful. But if you have a SQL Server or application inside, there's tools out there like Stackify that is much more powerful in terms of code insights. And this one, the JetBrains, no, the Redgate one is much more powerful in terms of the SQL Server. But yeah, better doubled than not.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, whenever now, what's best practice? If you have SQL Monitor and you want to investigate something, and then you say, oh, maybe I'd love to do an alert. I wouldn't add it here, because that's, in that case, it's another tool for alerts. I would try to avoid that. If possible, try to find the performance counter here, or the error or whatever in Datadog, and try to add the alert here in Datadog. So we have everything in one place. We can use, or I'd say we can use different tools in terms of analyzing stuff, because they're better in that part, but use the same tool here for alerting, or use just this single tool in terms of alerting. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Of course. That was really good, Oli.
Yeah. Sorry, it was not that fluent today.
No, it was actually.
But and yeah. If you have questions, you can ask me about. But I'd say try it out. Try to add some monitors. Oh, a cool thing I always use is, because I'm too lazy, is you can clone. You know, whenever you do a test, just clone it. It helps you to save time in terms of, yeah, you know, notify team. You just need to oh, this is a bad example.
Yeah, you have all the data from the cloned one already inside.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
That's the new one I created. Use this one. You see, there's already the information in here. So you just can change that one, maybe the URL.
And if you add a message,
so.
please have a message that is clear for everybody what is going on.
Or maybe if we use something specific for our team, we should target our team's channel, right?
Why not? If it's something that makes sense just only for you.
Yeah.
Oh, and a cool thing is also, like, you can add tags here. For instance, everything related to tag can be tagged as tag.
Yeah. Yeah, make use of these tags.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks, I would like for every team to have at least one thing to show, either active or passive monitoring or dashboard, something. I think that should be feasible for everybody. And then I'll put this actually on the agenda. So we just compare what we did and learn from each other. And if you want to try out other things like the web browser stuff, feel free, play around with it and show.
For instance, this private dashboard, you see there's already stuff made. Yeah, it's growing. But yeah, as Basil said, just do it. Make it part of the definition of done. In my opinion, you know, I'm not like the 100% test coverage guy, and I'm quite lazy in terms of testing, and that's not good at all. And tests are important, but I'd say much more important, no, not much more, but a little bit more important is having a good alarming, so that we really know if something fails. Or at least if we are, or let's say it differently. We decided to do testing quite yeah, it's part of definition of done, and we do it already. So our code is quite, or new code is quite good covered by tests, and this one should be as important as having green tests or a good test coverage. This should be as important. Because I can tell you there's screen tests and your software may break out there. And then the green test didn't save your ass. Huh? So it's really important to have a good alarming and health check of your products and system environment. So it's as important as tests, monitoring and alerting.
Okay.
And I can also tell you, you will get prouder and prouder if you have an overview and you see how your portfolio performs and you did improvements and so on. That is kind of like a good feeling to see, oh, okay, so now I have the overview, everything is green. Whenever something breaks, I know it. Not that the customer will inform me, hey, it doesn't work. Also here, there's no 100% guarantee, I agree, but again, it's as important. Sorry, Basil, 3 minutes left.
No worries. No worries. I think it's important that everyone understands. Okay, so in 2 weeks, please share what you came up with. Take something small, try it out, use it, and yeah, let's move on from there and add monitoring as we go. Thanks, Oli, very much. That was really good. Good presentation.
Thank you.
And I will put it up somewhere on Insight on YouTube. So if you want to rewatch how it is done, you can. And that's it.
Oli, whenever we have a new service or we have a new like API, so should I contact you or ITO or any guys to migrate it to datadog? Are you willing to support me to do that, or are you asked the dev guy?
No, I can help you.
Okay, great.
Any more questions or?
Otherwise, I need to fix what's broken. That makes me.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get
Yeah.
there. Okay, guys.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Ollie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you, guys.